The president's on his way to Europe, and in Prague today, he and Russian President Medvedev signed a landmark nuclear arms treaty, the first of its kind in 2 decades. The treaty cuts each country's nuclear arsenal by 30% over 7 years, though hundreds of warheads will still be left. It also limits long-range missiles and planes to about 700 each, about the number the U.S. has now, and the Senate must ratify that treaty. George Stephanopoulos was there for the ceremony and afterwards spoke with the president. So, George, tell us what's the bottom line on the difference this will make to Americans.
It's a big deal, Diane, not so much because of the number of nuclear weapons that are going to be destroyed. The U.S. and Russia will still have enough to blow up the world many times over, but because of what it says about the U.S.-Russia relationship. And the president is hoping that a strong and productive partnership will pay off, for instance, in confronting Iran and their nuclear program. But this isn't done yet. The United States and Russia still have some differences over the issue of missile defense, and that could complicate the chances of getting this treaty through the Senate. Some tough but successful negotiations with the Russians. Now comes the Senate. You have no doubt you're going to get the 8 Republicans you need to ratify this treaty.
Well, you know, listen, I've now been in Washington for long enough that for me to say I have no doubt about how the Senate operates would be foolish. When they have had the opportunity to fully evaluate this treaty, we'll come to the conclusion that this is in the best interest of the United States.
Sarah Palin, taking aim at your decision to restrict use of nuclear weapons, your pledge not to strike nations, non-nuclear nations, who abide by the Non-Proliferation Treaty. Here's what she said. She said, it's unbelievable. No other administration would do it. And then she likened it to kids on a playground. She said, you're like a kid who says, punch me in the face, and I'm not going to retaliate.
Yeah.
Your response?
I really have no response to that. Last I checked, Sarah Palin's not much of an expert on nuclear issues.
But the strain of criticism has been out there among other Republicans as well. They think you're restricting use of nuclear weapons too much.
And what I would say to them is that if the Secretary of Defense and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff are comfortable with it, I'm probably going to take my advice from them and not from Sarah Palin.